Game Show, folks. The host network is Powerlifting News USA. How are we all doing out there?
Doing good.
Oh, yeah,
Can't
We're
you
complain,
know.
doing
baby.
great.
I'm Chris with Getaway Game Sports, and we've got a panel full of phenomenal gentlemen. Diabolical. Why don't you start, sir?
Diabolical One here. Feel free to follow me at the Diabolical One on TikTok. And the wheelhouse for me is hockey, football, baseball, a little bit of basketball.
Nice. Jake.
All right, what's up, everybody? It's Jake's Takes on Sports. You can find me at that handle on TikTok. I just am a football guru. I also cover basketball and baseball, hockey as well. But yeah, let's get it, baby.
Let's go, Brandon. The Rook.
My name's Brandon. I'm the Rook. I'm with the I'm Say It podcast and the Married to Sports podcast. You can find me on TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, all those. Um, I mainly focus on football, basketball, and baseball, and golf.
Cool. Corey.
Hey, everybody, it's Sports Nut. You can find me at SportsNut17 on TikTok, which I am live right now. Married to Sports Podcast with Brandon, Dio, and Hot Rod. We do one every day. We're on YouTube. Go check us out.
You know, and the incredulous one himself, Hot Rod.
Hey, I'm Hot Rod. I'm Hot Rod Style on Sports on TikTok, and they already mentioned Married to Sports, but I'll mention it again. Let's get this going, guys.
Let's go. All right. So the GM's getting the game situated and set up. Our first question is going to be in just a moment up. All right, guys. So, as we know, last week, Mike Van Gundy got fired.
Mike Van Gundy.
Oh, Mike Van Gundy, Mike Gundy, excuse me, got fired. What are your thoughts on him getting let go from OSU?
You pick it, Chris. Who goes first?
I know I'm trying to figure out. Let's go with Jake first.
All right. Well, I believe that at the end of the day, you're only as good as your coach can be. And I feel like they pretty much saw everything that they could get out of Mike Gundy. I think that eventually, as a program, you need to make a change when things aren't going right. And he's had more than ample enough time to try and fix this program. And just things weren't going well. At the end of the day, we've seen it with multiple different programs in college. We saw it with James Franklin. We've seen it with just a lot of, like, we'll say, I guess, pedigree coaches, like guys who've been around for a while. But at the end of the day, sometimes the sport outgrows you. And I think at this point, it's kind of outgrown Mike Gundy. I think that he just was not able to keep up with the times. And I think that it's actually a really, really good move for OSU to finally kind of
7
weed that
seconds.
out and try and figure out what their future is going to be. Because I feel like they've just been outrunning this man at this point. And this was a move that pretty much everybody saw coming. So I think that it's a
Wrap
great
it up.
move. I think that it's definitely a step in the right direction, and we'll see where they go from here. I'm not going to make any huge claims as of right now, but it's definitely a step in the right
All
direction for the
right.
program.
Rodney, let's go.
You know, Jake is right to a point, but the way I would push back on him is, the the school didn't do him any favors in the last 5 years with the new NIL thing, money, and everything. But ultimately, he was the winner. But the times have changed, and everybody needs a fresh start. And for me, I see him still coaching, and I'm a throw out a school right here that I could see him fit very well at Auburn. Auburn just fired their
Ooh,
coach this week, and he's that type of guy that would ultimately fit right in with the culture at Auburn.
interesting. Nice take. Nice take. All right, Corey, let's go.
All right. Van Gundy is the pinnacle of Oklahoma State. He went to school there. He quarterbacked there. He became a head coach there. He was then was there what 20 years, whatever it may be. I'm not for sure exactly how many years he was there. Mike Gundy was Oklahoma State, but in the last couple of years, they have not been winning, and we've seen in the way of sports is now it's not about you know it's what have you done for me lately. Um, Schools, they're players transfer all the time, coaches leave all the time. It's a business now. It's not you're not going to see coaches staying there that long. I do believe that Gundy can coach still. I think he will go to another school. Um, I think Gundy he's an offensive guru, and I just think that it was time.
10 seconds.
Unfortunately, so I see Gundy going to another school, and I say I could see a LSU, Florida State, or Virginia Tech.
Interesting. All right. All right, Dio.
All right, Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy did a hell of a job at Oklahoma State. He has had some great talent come through there. Unfortunately, it's not always been there at the same time. That comes down to his recruiting, which, look, in the state of Oklahoma, their choices are Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Tulsa, or they go to Texas or one of the Texas colleges. And he had to deal with that every year. What really put the last nail in his coffin was the loss of the Bedlam series. No more Oklahoma State playing. When Oklahoma and Texas went to the SEC, Oklahoma State was left in the Dust Bowl. They were not able to recruit because if anybody in the state of Oklahoma wanted to go play football, the SEC looks very attractive to go play for Texas or Oklahoma. Without that Bedlam series, which I hate to see it gone because it ranked up there for me as an outsider of those schools. It ranked up there with Michigan, Ohio State, Florida, Florida State, Miami, Alabama, Tennessee. It was a huge loss for college football, in my opinion,
10 seconds.
that those two schools are not playing anymore. Mike Gundy did a great job with that school, and he will coach again. And I would love to have him at Florida State. I could see him at a Florida also.
Nice. Rook.
Yeah, I think Dio hit it on the head. When you look at Mike Gundy's 20-year career as a head coach, you look at the first 18 and you say, wow, you did a really good job. You were consistent. You were solid. And so I like this for Oklahoma State. I don't necessarily like this for college football. I think Mike Gundy is more than an adequate coach. Uh, the Bedlam game is what hurt the boosters and everything, and it's really hard to get these kids now without the NIL deals. And when your money's held up because Mike Gundy stopped the Bedlam deal, which Mike Gundy didn't stop it. He just said, "Hey, I'm not gonna make this a priority to make it an out of schedule, out of conference game. It used to be in conference. They wanted to move conferences. You're not gonna hold Oklahoma State responsible for that. Hey, that's fine. Stick to your guns. I see him going to a Florida, maybe in Arkansas, because the culture in Arkansas is not a whole lot different than Oklahoma. He'd have a little bit more money to play with Jerry Jones's money and everything else. But I also like him in Florida. I think he would do great in the SEC, just having been able to compete with Oklahoma and Texas for 20 years.
Way to make it tough on me, gentlemen. I like it. My quick take on this is Mike Gundy. It was definitely time for him to move on. I think he has surpassed OSU, going off the conferences and not moving on, so on and so forth. The SEC grabbing Oklahoma was a big thing, and I got to agree with the Bedlam. Bedlam's gone. That just does not do anything for Oklahoma State. Wonder if they'll ever bring it back. I don't know. Which would be kind of cool if they did. Just saying that. But I've got to give this one to Rod. I really like Rod's take in regards to this. So, Rod, you get number 1 point, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So, first up for the next question will be Rod. All right. I got another question. Tony Vitello versus Kurt Suzuki, both rookie managers. Whose team does better?
For me, I really am going to go with Tello here, because for what he did at Tennessee, he took that program and totally resurrected it, and he's got the fiery personality that really translates well to the majors because he's not going to have his guys back. Kurt Suzuki, yes, he's a catcher by trade. Catchers normally make great managers, but I think the Giants are going to be more pro, more progressive in getting players than the Angels. Because honestly, we've seen how many star players that the Angels have had, and they're still struggling. So give me Tony Vitello with Buster Posey working out.
Copy that. Brandon, you're up.
Give me Kirk and Suzuki. I don't know much about either one of these guys, but I do know that Kirk used to be a catcher and therefore took command of the entire field. And if you can control it, all the players on the field, what can you do as a manager? With the Suzuki last name, I'm going to assume he's got some kind of Japanese descent, and I know that their mentality and the way that they play baseball over there is completely different. So go ahead and give me Kurt. I think that he's got the grit and the mentality to get it done.
Copy that. Let's go with Corey.
Both of these guys, I think, are going to have first year struggles because of the teams they're going to. I mean, the Angels, they've wasted Mike Trout for how long, putting people around him. They lost Otani, and it really hurt. San Fran is going to, didn't make the playoffs this year, had a kind of a bad season. But both of them coming in, I think, are going to have a struggle. I think both of them, when it comes to Kurt, because Suzuki's going to have more of a control because he's been in the majors. He caught blah blah blah, like Brandon said. Tony coming in, you know what? I think he's going to be more of a manager that wants to bring up the talent, that develops the talent. And I think in the long haul, I think he's going to have a better career because I think the Angels aren't going to, really help Suzuki much as an organization, but I do think San Francisco will help Tony. And you got Buster Posey, pretty much being the GM and everything, listening to him. So I think they're gonna the developmental part of it. He's gonna do a better job of
10
bringing
seconds.
the guys up. So give me Tony on this one.
Copy that. Nice. Let's go with Jake.
All right. Well, honestly, I think that I'm gonna have to go with Suzuki here, just based on the sole fact that we know that a lot of former players usually have much better relationships with the actual players playing in the organization right now. And I think that the pro with Kurt walking in is that he's gonna understand contracts a little bit better. He's gonna understand, the ins and outs when it comes to the franchise because he's played the game. So I think obviously Tony's not going to be done any favors when it comes to because San Fran, the most that they've ever had was like Aaron Judge a few years ago, and they couldn't really pull that off. And I know the Angels have lost a lot of talent as far as Otani and others, but I feel like Kurt's going to be able to convince a lot of different guys because he knows how to talk that lingo. He knows how to talk to these guys because he's been there before. So give me Kurt as more of a player friendly type of guy.
Copy that. I like it. I like it. All right, Dio. Let's see. What do you got, my friend?
So I'm happy for Vitello getting the opportunity to coach in the major leagues. He did a hell of a job in college. He is a player's coach, but it's always been really in the collegiate level and some minors. Look, Kurt Suzuki has had quite a career and he's played for multiple teams. He's seen different organizations. And when it comes to contracts and all that stuff, he doesn't care about that. He's not going to care about that. And I can tell you the condition of both of those organizations right now with the teams, they're very similar. The Giants have some good talent, and so do the Angels. I watched a lot of the West Coast games, the Angels and Athletics, the Seattle series with the Angels. It was some good baseball. There's potential for both. However, Vitello is going to be drinking from a fire hose, learning all this new information and the level of play in the majors. I think he's going to struggle his first year. I think he's going to be successful. But I believe Kurt Suzuki has got his finger on the pulse. He has the baseball knowledge. He knows how players react. He is, a catcher is a great person to settle pitchers and other players. And, that right there, him being a catcher is just immensely an advantage when it comes to now in a managerial role. He's going to be like the player whisperer. So
10 seconds.
I got Suzuki having a better start with the Angels than I do Vitello with the Giants.
Okay. So here's my quick take. You all know I'm a homer, right, Brandon?
That's
I'm a
it.
huge Giants fan, but there's a take that nobody talked about yet. You ready? Suzuki's contract is tied to the GM's contract. Okay. Does everybody understand that? And the GM for the Angels is who? Nobody really knows. He is in his last year of his contract. So we could see, depending on how it goes, Suzuki could be one and done as a manager for the Angels. So I just want to throw that out there. Okay. Obviously, I'm going to take Vitello. He's going to have way more opportunity to pick what he needs, say what he needs, and say how he needs. I think Suzuki is already under the thumb of what's going on with the GM, and I don't think he's going to get a fair chance. So, with that being said, I really like the Suzuki take that Jake had because I do like Kurt Suzuki. I think he was a great catcher, played for 9 MLB teams, if I remember correctly, and did very well with all of them. So I'm going to go with Jake's take, guys.
Thank you, sir.
You are welcome. All right. So for all you out there, Powerlifting News USA is our broadcasting host in regards to this, the GM Game Show, and we're having a phenomenal time. We've got everybody that has fun on TikTok and on YouTube are together. We're on the Getaway Game Sports Podcast. We're on the Married to Sports podcast. Geez, I can't talk. Jake's take on sports is phenomenal. Diabolical one, let me tell you, folks, he truly is diabolical. And then we got the hot rod himself. Great take. NCAA sports, unbelievable. Everybody's got their little niche, and we all have fun. All right, here we go. Michael Penix. Okay.
That's Bijan. Dijon.
Oh, John, my bad. My bad. I apologize. I couldn't see the number. I'm kind of blind.
Why don't you ever
Rob
disrespect one of my
Robinson.
Texas boys ever again?
Oh, yeah. Bijan Robinson. Case for MVP. MVP. Gold or trash, folks? Gold or trash? What is it? Brandon, let's go. He's your Texas boy. Let's see what you got.
All right, so when we look at MVP, I think we actually look at what the MVP actually means, which is most valuable player. And when you look at the dumpster fire, which is the Falcons football team right now, you know they're missing it on special teams, they're missing it on defense. They do have some nice pieces. They have a coach who I really do believe in, but he's not showing me that he can do a whole lot. I do not believe that the Falcons would be in the situation they are currently in if Bijan was not getting 200 yards per scrimmage. So when you look at the Falcons overall and you look at him, you have to say, hey, yes, he is the MVP. Not only that, he is arguably it is arguably between him and Jonathan Taylor right now on who the number one back is. And Bijan's making a strong case. So I think the MVP case is absolute gold. I think it's something worth talking about. I think he's worth mentioning. Now, is he the MVP? Unfortunately, we've seen it go to quarterbacks too many times. But he is absolutely making a case. And if you say MVP is most valuable player, he is definitely the most valuable player on the Falcons franchise.
Cool. Good take. Dio, let's go.
I mean, Brandon pretty much just took my take there because he's right. The kid is gold. I can't really knock him for anything for the fact that he's the best thing on that team right now. Carrying the load, and it's a big load in Atlanta to swallow. It's a joke down there, and this kid needs to be on another team yesterday. Another thing about Bijan Robinson, he's trying to get in acting. So you got this guy that's wanting to do something also as well as playing NFL football, and he's still busting ass out there. He's a beast. And he's on a crap team that's never going to put the right pieces around them. They don't have a quarterback in that stable that's going to get them anywhere. And this guy is just going to cook in Atlanta for nothing. They're not going to be in the playoffs. I don't see them anywhere near the playoffs in the next 2 years unless they draft some superstars somehow. But the thing about it is,
10 seconds.
send this kid West Coast. He wants to be an actor. He can retire after he plays for the Rams, Niners, Seahawks, you name it. And, he can get where he wants to go. But the MVP, he is gold, but he's not going to be the MVP because his team's not going to be in the playoffs. And I always look at the MVP who got their team to the playoffs and is cooking in the playoffs. That's all I got.
Gold Io, thank you. Great take. Great take. Hot Rod, let's go, baby.
He is a great. Bijan Robinson is probably one of the top 3 running backs in the NFL right now. Everybody said that he's on a trash team. He's carrying the load, but ultimately his team is failing him. But so for that reason, I'm gonna say he's not MVP right now. If I had to give an MVP to somebody, it would be Jonathan Taylor. It would be no quarterback getting the MVP this year.
Good take. I like it. Let's go, Jake.
All right, so I think that the take is gold. I think that him being in consideration for the MVP is gold, straight up, because this team has had no offensive firepower since the likes of Julio Jones and, obviously the Roddy Whites of the world. It's been hard for this team to find an identity on offense for the last about decade. So honestly, ever since that Super Bowl loss against the New England Patriots in 2016, this team has been looking for a face of the franchise. And I think that Bijan Robinson fills that spot better than pretty much anybody they could have drafted in that draft class. Now, is he going to win MVP? Unfortunately, no, because it's a quarterback's award. But honestly, the top 2 guys for MVP right now are running backs. And I think that it being a quarterback's award is kind of ridiculous. I think that it should be in consideration between Bijan and Jonathan Taylor. And unfortunately, Jonathan Taylor's probably going to walk away with that because his team is going to be in the playoffs while Bijan is not. Now, does that mean much? Yes and no, because at the same time, the Falcons probably wouldn't even have the couple of wins that they do without Bijan Robinson. So I think that he is the heart and soul of that team. And if you want to talk about most valuable player, the Falcons literally don't have an offense without Bijan. So if you wanted to take MVP to its
10
most
seconds.
finite term, you should give it to Bijan.
Nice. All right. Wrapping it up. Corey.
Like everybody says, I'm going to say the same thing. Bijan is an MVP caliber. He is gold. Unfortunately, he does play on the Falcons. They do have some good pieces. They've got a coach. They've got, they're starting to get there. But how long is it going to take? And we've seen that most times MVPs don't come from a team that has a losing record. We've never seen it. And also, it's usually a quarterback. This year and the last couple of years since he's come in, he is one of the top 5 running backs in the NFL. He could make a case for number 1, especially this year. He is that offense. That offense doesn't go if he doesn't go. And we've seen it. If somebody's held him in check, that offense doesn't succeed. So, should he be in consideration for MVP? Yes, he should. But because he plays on a losing team, he's not going to get the consideration he deserves, unfortunately. So, I would go MVP gold based on his talent and what his production, but he won't get it because of the team success. And that's not right. So, like I said, I put him in there in the MVP race. I think him and Jonathan Taylor are the 2 top. But I think somebody like Drake May is going to be. I think somebody like Drake May is going to be the one that ends up getting the MVP. So that's my take.
All right. So real quick, kind of gonna bounce off of what everybody says. I like Bijan. I think he is gold. If his offensive line was better, his production would be even better than what it is. His offensive line is poor, which is causing him to lose yards, in my opinion. Secondary to that, if he wants to get into acting, which I didn't know, what fit I see really good for him on the West Coast? The Chargers. I think if that happens, he's in his 4th year with the Falcons right now on the 5-year first round something or other pick, and he's got one more year, or do you think they'll trade?
5th year option.
Thank you.
So he's got one or two.
He's
Okay.
got fifth year option.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
I thought he came out in 22 draft.
So was it 22? I thought it was 21. Okay. So we'll figure that out.
It
When
might have
we
been. I might be wrong. I might be
Okay.
wrong. I might be wrong.
So this is what I got. I got to split this between two gentlemen here, and Dio and Brandon. I got to split it between you guys because you guys did a hell of a job presenting. So you guys are each going to get a half point.
Before we move on from this, real quick.
Yeah.
I appreciate nobody beating up my Texas guy, but since nobody did it and for entertainment purposes, can I take the reverse side of this real quick?
Sure, go for it.
So, if you actually look at the Bijan Robinson as a whole, he's had some drops and some big moments, and he had some fumbles that actually cost him a couple games. Now, if you want to put somebody in the MVP conversation that's a non-quarterback, I think you have to look at Christian McCaffrey and all the injuries that they've overcome. I think when you overcome those injuries and you catch the ball out of the backfield and you get 200 yards from scrimmage and you don't turn the ball over, I think that's more valuable than a back who turns the ball over and whose game didn't translate as fast in the NFL like somebody like Jonathan Taylor or Christian McCaffrey, even though he's been injured.
Good call. Wow. Man, may have to give you another half point just because.
Huh.
That's where I was thinking on that one. I was like,
Yeah.
oh boy.
I think I'm gonna. I like it.
Appreciate you guys not beating up my Texas boy, but hook 'em horns, I'll do it.
I was impressed, actually. That's a hey. You
Can't
got
beat
a
him
full
up when
point.
he's a top 3 back.
Man.
He is.
Nice.
He is. I love the guy. He can make guys miss. He not only jukes people with his legs, but he does it with his eyes too. For him to be able to make his whole body contort in different ways and make people completely guess wrong, that's a skill that you can't teach. It's you're either born with it or you're not. And he's done a great job.
He's literally Barry Sanders and Adrian Peterson's body. It's
Yeah.
But in all
Yeah,
fairness,
whenever
his
you're
game
ready.
did not translate as fast as like Jonathan Taylor's did, or even some of these younger guys. I think that even Trey Henderson in New England, I think his game has translated faster than what Bijan said. It took Bijan 2-3 years before that he's been able to make these big runs like he's done.
I like it. I like it. All right. Oh man. So this was from a couple of weeks ago. Tom, I can't even say that last name. Aspinall live poke ends UFC main event. Now, if you guys know, have you ever been poked in the eye? Well, this
Yeah.
guy's eye literally freaking, it's like it went up into his brain. He got hit so hard. And the game ended up, or not the game, the fight ended up getting DQ'd basically. And this poor guy, main event fight at the UFC. You know how hard it is to get there. Okay. Diabolical. I want you to get going on this.
So, look, the thing about this is, it shouldn't have happened. It's a dirty move, in my opinion. I mean, honestly, the match did end up DQ'd, which, I mean, at that point, what do you do? I mean, you can't really award him win by default because he got poked in the eye. I mean, there's a risk you take in any sport that something could happen. And, you know, in my occupational hazards of career, I shared this with Brandon one day after the podcast was over. And, and I'm not promoting this, but this book right here, I was explaining it to Brandon. It's called Rat Fight. It pretty much teaches you how to fight like a rat. And rats are, if you've ever seen two rats fighting, it's pretty gruesome.
Very.
That's the kind of stuff that we're talking about and what we're looking at here. This was a nasty move. I'm not going to say that I ever used this technique, but this is a sanctioned fight. There are rules, and this was absolutely unnecessary. This guy's career is just, I'm sorry, it's pretty much over. So,
yeah. Oh yeah.
When you're in an octagon, you go by the rules. If you're out in a street fight, there are no rules, and that's the way I always live my life in my occupation.
Wrap it up.
Rules.
Cool. All right, let's go with Hot Rod.
I really haven't followed UFC, but I used to watch boxing back in the day. The and I'm gonna tell you right now, this is the lowest class move you could ever see. I mean, ultimately, it could have been accidental, but it obviously looks on purpose. But ultimately, not only should the guy had been disqualified, he should not even be allowed to step in the ring again. Because you know what? Ultimately, who else will he do that to? If he does it to one opponent, is that going to be a continual behavior? That's the question that Dana White and everybody's going to have to ask when
Yes,
putting these fights together. So it's interesting to see well, we know the guy's career is over, but we got to see
10
what
seconds.
the ultimate long term outcome is going to be, how they handle the fights from here on out.
It's going to be interesting. All right, Corey, let's go.
In the UFC, you see this more than this isn't the first time this has happened by any means. It happens a lot in the UFC because they have the open gloves. And when somebody's jabbing at you or something, most of the time when their hands are out, they're open if you see it, unless they're throwing a punch. Because they're trying to catch the hand, they're trying to catch the head, they're trying to do something. The thing about it is accidental pokes happen. They do all the time in the UFC. But by looking at the one picture, when you get that still frame up close, this man took his fingers and when you know that you have right there, you know that you have his eyes. You can feel it. I don't care how fast or how slow it was. And he pushed in.
Yep.
That right there shows that it was on purpose. And I agree with Rod. The guy he should have been disqualified. It should have been in the DQ. The guy that had it happen to him should have been considered the winner. He is still can't see out of his right eye. There's a good chance he might never see out of that right eye, and that just ruined his UFC career if that happens.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is we've seen dirty things happen, but to do that to another fighter is completely utterly wrong. And he's a chicken coward. Sorry, because obviously he felt like he couldn't beat him. I mean, your
10
hands are by his
seconds.
face, so you can take it out. I feel bad for at all, but hopefully he can come back. I don't see it happening, but it does happen more than usual in any other sport. So
Oh, yeah. Jake, what do you got for us, my friend?
Man, dude, it's totally heartbreaking because if you followed the UFC at all, you know this dude's a great fighter. And to work your entire life for something and have it taken from you in a complete just whim of a swift move, and a move that was obviously very dirty, obviously very intentional. It clearly, you could tell by that close up, as Corey said, it was obvious. And it does happen a lot more in this sport than others, but for a guy that has been working for this probably since he was a young kid up until now, and to have his career completely ended by it, there's no place for it in the sport. And guys need to understand that you got to be careful when it comes to stuff like that, because now he might not ever see out of that eye again. You got to think he could, outside of the sport, he could be a father, and then you only get to see your kid with one eye for the rest of your life. So it's an unfortunate thing. It's terrible that it happened. And that guy obviously should have been DQ'd. And on top of it, I agree with Rodney. Dude shouldn't fight again because that was clearly intentional. It was honestly a very soft move, and I feel really bad for the brother. He might not ever fight again, and he worked his entire life for this. To work your entire life for something and have it end like that over something so dirty is just it's very unfortunate for the sport and for himself.
Exactly. I agree. Brandon, you back, my friend?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, no
Uh,
worries. You're up.
yeah, so this is absolutely a travesty for the sport. The sport itself is having a hard time getting off the ground, and this is another really bad look for UFC. And unfortunately, I know what it takes to get from the training facility to the octagon, And there's a whole lot of belts and a whole lot of steps before you even really get to spar, let alone go to be a professional fighter. So this guy has had all the training and all the skills in the world to actually compete at the right level. And unfortunately, made a bonehead move, cost another guy his career. And nobody, the fans, nobody won this fight. There was not a winner in this fight. There was a whole bunch of losers, including us. We paid for the fight, and it was over quickly. Um, and that's not how you want to see a fight end. And so it's really gross for the sport. It's really gross for the athletes. It's just all around a bad deal. I mean, I don't. We everybody else is kind of we really said it, but on the entertainment aspect, this is another mark against UFC.
It is. It is. I agree. So this reminded me of Rich Franklin. I don't know if you guys remember Rich Franklin at all. Fighter out of Cincinnati.
Yep.
He took down Frank Shamrock, or not Frank, Shamrock. I can't remember. Ken, thank you. I could not spit that out. And that was the first time I really got to see him. But he took a shot to the eye in a bout, and the finger literally went this far into his eye. Now, what people don't understand is this injury right here, if it doesn't even do, let's say, damage, okay, what it does is infection. And what people don't realize is the infection that happens afterwards lasts for 3 to 4 weeks, if not longer. This is going to be worse. I think you're going to see some retina tears. I think he may not be able to see again out of that right eye, is my understanding. Who knows? But this was dirty as all can be. And I got to give it to our boxing guy for this one. Corey, you get a point, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay, point's been delivered, and now I got a second point to that. And Corey, do not take this as a personal attack. Yes, cowardly in the octagon. Cowardly.
Yes.
Real life? Hell no.
Nope. Anything goes.
It's not cowardly if whatever I do to another human being if I'm in a life situation.
Yes, I agree.
Secondly, this is the UFC. There are no participation trophies in the UFC. So there should not have been a winner to this match. DQ happened. Match did not happen. Period. Yep. I'm sorry. I'm not giving a participation trophy to the guy who got his eye poked. It sucks. Nope. But it's a fucking UFC. Pardon my language.
Well, the thing about it is I agree with you, Dio, but, in the UFC, the thing is that they train enough, and outside of the UFC, anything goes. Anything goes. Absolutely. Inside, these guys train enough that they know but everybody comes with their hands out.
Yeah.
You see it every day. I mean, it can happen. It honestly can happen. I'm just saying the way he did it, you can see it was intentional.
Oh, no. I'm not disagreeing with any of that, Corey. I'm just saying, there's a couple of comments that just I was sitting there going,
At what point does the UFC change the gloves? So
they're not.
It'll never happen
because of the grappling aspect and everything else. They got to have use of their hands.
Yes.
I mean, Eric, whenever you're ready.
But that's the risk they signed up for.
Yep.
Matches. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I'm sure they both got paid, but the fans were deprived. They were neglected a great fight. I agree.
Now, my understanding on that also is I think that 20% of the purse was given to Aspinall. Excuse me. God, I cannot say that. I think he got 20% of the other guy's purse or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
He did get fined.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it sucks.
I do the best I can and let the chips fall where they may. You know that about me by now, quick.
All right, folks. So we straight up all know what happened a week and a half or so ago with the NBA and the FBI NBA raid. We know that this is going to be a lot worse. What's your all's take on what's going on and how it's going? Let's start with Brandon.
Obviously when you have a Fed case, they've been looking at you for a while. So when they get you, they typically got you. So there was a lot of names that came out. I think there's going to be some more names that came out. I'm not surprised. Whenever you're dealing with money and stuff, people's livelihoods, there's greed, there's all kinds of stuff involved. And so
Ruth.
Chauncey Billups is a great athlete, great player, pretty good coach. It was surprising to hear his name and Terry Rozier be thrown in the mix, but at the same time, we don't. I don't look at what people do off the court or off the football field or baseball field, whatever sport they're playing. I don't look at them outside of that. Clearly, probably should have taken a closer look at what they were doing. But it's sad. It's sad for the game of basketball. It's sad for sports in general. And good luck to him.
Copy that. Dio.
All right, y'all have heard me say this so many times. Money corrupts. Money corrupts. They get paid so much money as athletes and coaches and front office and everything else, but it's never enough for them. It's never enough for the greedy bastard. And I compare them with this situation to no different than you do have the percentage of dirty cops in this country. You have the dirty percentage of politicians in this country. It's never enough for any of these bastards. And to me, who quit watching the NBA regularly in 1997 because of a team name change, going back and watching this now, there's been times I thought some certain series really,
10 seconds.
did not, like the game didn't look on the up and up. And, it's across the board. You pick an occupation, it's there. The feds looked into it, and I think this might even go as far as certain politicians involved. So it stinks. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Wrap it up. Here we go. All right. Corey.
When I sit here and look at this, both of them, it just appalls me. Does it surprise me? Nothing surprises me anymore. In the profession I've worked, nothing surprises me. When it comes to sports, nothing surprises me. Chauncey Billups, great player, he's good coach. The sad part is he got hooked up with the wrong people. But his was off the court. He skimmed millions off of people at gambling. Terry Rozier, though, took it to a next level on his case because Terry Rozier took himself out of a game so that people could benefit for the under on a betting. They kicked Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame because he bet on baseball, but he always bet on his team. Tell me, betting's been there since the start of times of sports. But you do not, if for the integrity, if of anybody that's ever played a sport, been in a sport, rooted for a sport,
10 seconds.
You don't bet against yourself. You don't bet against your team. That's just wrong in every aspect of the thing. And greed is the main culprit of it.
It is. It is. All right. Let's go, Hot Rod.
For me, the NBA, this isn't the first time we've had these scandals. I mean, what was the rookie from Toronto that got?
Jonte Porter.
Thank you. So ultimately, we know that it's happening. The FBI was investigating all this all along. We don't know how far it's going to go, but here's the ultimate question. How far down the sports ladder is it going to go? Because we've seen in baseball recently with Shohei Ohtani. I mean, ultimately, with this being FBI level, we're going to see it multiple sports. It's not going to be just limited to the NBA. And ultimately, I feel like that the sanctions are going to have to come to the owners as well, because
10
I feel like
seconds.
some of these owners were involved that we probably will never know about. Adam Silver has to really be held accountable
All
in a lot
right.
of ways.
Good take, Rod. I like that take. All right, Big Jake. What do you got?
Okay, so Adam Silver knew about this. Reports came out that Adam Silver already had knowledge about this going on. So it starts at the top. It starts at the top of the league. And also on top of it, nobody's mentioned this yet, the hypocrisy to be able to play betting ads in between your talk shows talking about the scandal. And then when we go to Chauncey Billups, Tiago Splitter is 4-1 as the Trailblazers head coach with the same roster. Obviously, he's cooked. And then Terry Rozier took himself out of the game. Terry Rozier bet against himself. You know the integrity that you have to lose to do something like that? So literally, Adam Silver knew about this. So Adam Silver's already being questioned by the FBI, and that's going to come later on. But I just can't understand the hypocrisy of ESPN and all these other shows talking about the scandal while having ESPN bet at the bottom of the screen. It has completely ruined my integrity in basketball, and I'm never going to watch it the same until they get rid of Adam Silver. The fact that Adam Silver knew about this and did nothing to stop it, it all starts at the top. Adam Silver should lose his job. Chauncey Billups definitely is
10
gone
seconds.
after Tiago Splitter's gone 4-1 with the same roster. And then Terry Rozier should never play basketball again. This is going to be top to bottom, and everyone's cooked. It's ridiculous, and the hypocrisy is on another level. Having ESPN bet while you're talking about the scandal? Get out of here, dude.
There we go. Okay, so my take real quick on this. The NBA is either the first or the second most corrupt sports agency in the world. Let's just start there. I've been saying that since, God, 1990, whatever, 100 years ago, as we know. This does not surprise me that Adam Silver may even be somewhat hooked up with all the, let's just say, other factors of this. That's what going on. It would not surprise me at all. And that's why he's kept his mouth shut for so long about what's going on. Now, in regards to the actual card games that were going on, we have all at card games. We have all played that card game. Some of us have been to some crazy card games. Now, as far as the skimming off the top, I've never been that high into that type of stuff. And to see that actually happening and going on, that's the hard part for me. Now, the best argument had to be Jake. Jake, I got to give you the point. And Dio, by the way, I did give you another half point, so you do have a full point now. Jake, great job on that. So here we go. Just real quick to round it up. I've got Jake with 2 points, Brandon with 1. I've got Corey with 1, Dio with 1, and Rod with 1 right now. So I'm not sure how many more questions we have, but we'll find out shortly.
I will say Jake knocks it out of the park. I
Yeah.
mean, he nailed it.
Dude, real quick before we move on, thank you, Dio. Because how do you show betting ads at the bottom of the screen when you're talking about the scandal? That is just hypocrisy at its finest. And as a fan of the NBA, because you guys know I'm a big NFL fan, but I love the NBA as well, to have my product completely be tarnished to where I can't trust the league anymore is heartbreaking.
Yep. Time to divorce your lady, right?
Yeah.
True. That's funny. All right, here we go. Brady or Manning? Who was the better passer? Here we go. I'm going to start with you, Jake.
All right. So honestly, I think that you have to look at numbers, and you have to look at these records, and you have to look at the different ways that these two navigated the league, right? So Peyton Manning, we got multiple time MVP. We got a guy who was the quarterback of the best offense of all time, 2013 Denver Broncos. But we also have Tom Brady, who had 3 separate Hall of Fame careers and was one of the best passers that we've ever seen. But honestly, I got to give it to the guy that's had more MVPs. I got to give it to the guy who was on the best offense of all time. And I have to give it to the guy who didn't come back out of retirement to beat Drew Brees' records, all because Drew Brees got the #1 spot. So Peyton Manning was able to do it in less time. He was on the best offense of all time in the 2013 Denver Broncos. I got to give it to Peyton Manning, multiple time MVP. I feel like it's very close, but Peyton didn't have to come back out of retirement to break records. That's all I got to say.
Fair enough. All right, here we go. Hot Rod, let's go, baby.
You know, Peyton Manning for me was just so much fun to watch. He did it with class. He wasn't arrogant, and I know that shouldn't play a part. But for me, he just was spot on with his throws. I just really feel like Peyton Manning was the best passer in the league because he had some of the best receivers. Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison. I'm trying to think of that. Stokely. He had these guys that made him look good.
All right. Brandon, what you got?
So I understand all the Super Bowls and everything that Tom Brady has, but when you put the film on, Peyton Manning just makes it look better. He was surgical. He was able to put the ball in places that only his receiver could. And not that Tom Brady couldn't, because he could, but like surgically accurate. And yeah, he had Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne, and he had uh, the late great DT, but he still like the accuracy, the poise, what it looked like on film, it looked special. It looked different. It looked different coming out of his hand. There's a reason he had 4 MVPs, and so I would if I had to take a quarterback, I'm gonna take Peyton Manning for one game.
Copy that. All right. Corey.
You know, I was going to take Peyton Manning, but everybody else has already done it. Peyton Manning was a great quarterback. Peyton Manning had the great accuracy. Peyton Manning had a great college career, great pro career. Don't get me wrong. But Peyton Manning also had elite receivers. Elite. No matter what. When he was at Denver, elite. Indy, elite. The one thing that we talk about Tom Brady, I know Tom Brady's won all the MVPs, Super Bowls, blah, blah, blah. Peyton Manning has more MVPs. But Tom Brady did it with lesser talent in my eyes. You know, I mean Matthew Slater, just one of the names. Yes, he did have Gronk. I will give him that. But Tom Brady threw a special ball. You didn't expect it when he came out of college. We weren't expecting Tom Brady to be Tom Brady when he came to New England. We expected Peyton Manning to be who he was. We heard from his freshman year in college. From then, we knew what kind of passer he was. Tom Brady became an elite passer the more his career went along. I know he came out of retirement. I know that, a lot of greed, but passing, he was a phenomenal passer. So I will give it to Brady for the simple fact that he threw to lesser talent and he was just as accurate.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. You know who that leaves? The infamous one himself, Dio. Let's go.
So, all words aside, there's more hate for Tom Brady. Sorry about that. More hate for Tom Brady. Even today, people still hate on Tom Brady, and they never whine about Peyton Manning. And if we're looking at a passing contest here, okay, put them back in the Pro Bowl competitions and figure it out. I mean, come on. Overall, Tom Brady, 10 Super Bowl appearances. 2 different teams, 7 Super Bowl championships. I mean, it's ridiculous. Manning had the better receivers throughout his career. Now, granted, they didn't have the best defense, though, and that's where the Patriots had the advantage. But head to head, Peyton Manning is calling Brady his daddy. Brady always schooled him. So if we're looking at popularity contests and who has a prettier throw, go have that at the Pro Bowl competitions. If they still do them. But at the end of the day, I'm taking Tom Brady over Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning could not win a national championship with Tennessee. The very next year after he went to the draft, T. Martin goes and wins the national championship with Tennessee. Peyton Manning couldn't do it. So, I mean, look, it's followed him from his collegiate start. So, I mean, yeah, he got 2 Super Bowls, one with Denver and one with the Colts. But at the end of the day, Tom Brady, I don't care.
So, Dio, you have my argument perfect because that was the argument I was going to say, how Peyton Manning couldn't beat Florida. T. Martin's there for 1 year. He ends up winning a national championship. Brady beat Manning in the AFC Championship game. What was it? 4 out of 6 times or something like that. I can't remember the exact amount, but I mean, I got to go with my Bay Area boy, Tom Brady. He grew up about 5 minutes from where I grew up. And yes, I am being a homer, Brandon. Anyway, I got to give my argument to, ooh, God, this is a tough one because everybody had a good argument. And I'm going to split this one up again. I'm going to go with the two Bradys, Corey and Dio.
Okay. Well, I just want you to know, just so you know, Peyton Manning won 3 games over Tom Brady, and Tom Brady won 2 games over Peyton Manning in the playoffs.
Okay. Well, I was off. Nah.
Well, I just want you to know.
I'm throwing the challenge
you.
flag there. Tatum.
Oh, also another challenge flag. At least Peyton Manning started all his years in college.
True. I'll give you that.
I was at the game that T. Martin beat my Seminoles. So, you know.
Man, put the film on. What's the odds tell you?
Oh, man, that's awesome. All right, guys. So this is a fun question. You got old school baseball versus new school baseball. Now, here is the question. Is today's baseball worse? And when players are a little bit above average, it makes them look better? Or was old school baseball just that darn good that they were just that darn good? Which one you got? Old school or new school? Brandon.
So I'm gonna go with old school. Man, even before me giving it to my forefathers, but the guys around my time, we were just built different, man. We were we were like that, and Fergie Jenkins and Warren Spahn and all these guys, Nolan Ryan, they all pitched full games. You didn't have guys taking time off. If a guy missed a game, man, he was really either hurt or he was really, really sick, or somebody passed away. I mean, these guys didn't take time off, and so these guys were built different. Um, I think that the money wasn't quite given to them as much. They actually had to go out there and earn it. I think that they paved the way for this new school baseball, and because of the way that they paid, these guys have not treated it as kindly as the older guys that came before them. And so, old school baseball definitely rocked. We had better players, better talent, and guys just played harder. And I think it really makes a difference.
10 seconds. Okay, there we go. Hot Rod, let's go, baby.
To answer the question, I'm going to make it a hybrid. Because you know what? I love the old school baseball, like Brandon said. The pitchers pitched at least 7 innings. But where I want the game to go is I'm glad that we got DH into both leagues because it makes up even playing field. But I want to see more development and coaching and have the old school mentality with the new school, some of the new school rules, because ultimately it makes the game better when it's all on the level playing field. Because back in the day, the pitchers had to hit in the NL and American League, they didn't. So that was the big difference back then. So I kind of like the new school method of playing the both
10 seconds.
playing the level playing field, but I still miss the old school vibe.
Copy that. All right, Dio.
I'm going to go old school baseball for the simple fact that you look at today, you look at the equipment they have, you look at the technology they have, you look at the personal trainers they have, the diets they have, all this science involved in weightlifting and everything else. Look, it's exciting baseball to see the ball launched. It's amazing how fast these pitchers are pitching now, but they have all this technology at their fingertips that the old school didn't have. The old school were working jobs and playing baseball, some of them, to make a living. And it was in its purest form. And that's what baseball to me is, the basics of baseball. When I go out and throw the ball with my son, it's not, we're calling each other which great player we are. It's just throw and catch, just the way it used to be, pitch and catch and show up and play the game, and do your best. Today, all this money involved. You got players that sit out because they got a little contusion on their thigh. I mean, come on. You know, to me, I think it's watered down today in a lot of aspects, especially with some of the rules. So at the end of the day, I'm taking old school
10
baseball
seconds.
because these guys used to smoke, they used to drink, when they played. I mean, good God, they eventually got rid of chewing tobacco in baseball. But that's
Yeah.
all I got. Old school baseball in its purest form.
All right. I like that. I'm going to go with Corey next. And Jake, you're going to wrap it up, my friend.
I'm going straight up old school baseball. Old school baseball, I want it back. I want the National League. I want the pitchers to hit. I don't want it being the DH. I thought that was really good, great when, World Series, the National League had the home field advantage because, they were used to the pitcher hitting and the American League team wasn't. When they went to the American League, they got a DH, so it went back and forth. The things I miss the most now is, nobody knows how to bunt anymore. There isn't, people don't feel like Ozzie Smith. People don't run the bases like Vince Coleman, Ricky Henderson, Rock Reigns. You had, you still had the long ball. You had Mickey Mantle. You had Babe Ruth. You had Sosa. You had Bonds. You know, I like the old school. The old school was the way. The thing is pitchers don't pitch inside anymore because they're afraid to hit somebody. I loved watching. You know what? Pedro Martinez is on the mound, and his player got hit the inning before. Guess what? He's drilling one of your players, and it's not your ninth place hitter. He was going after a Jeter or a Judge if Judge would be playing then. Old school baseball. It was pure. It was, that's the reason it's America's sport is because it was pure. Everything they've got nowadays, technology and everything,
10
analytics,
seconds.
has ruined it. It's not even entertaining. In fact, old school, you could pay $25 to go watch it multiple games. $25 doesn't even get you a beer and a hot dog. So give me old school.
Nope. All right. Jake, wrap us up, brother.
All right, gentlemen. So the two things that have ruined new school. First off, I'm going old school baseball because the two things that have ruined new school baseball has been the pitching politics and the contract deferring. Pitching politics where guys can't finish full games is pretty annoying because you guys remember the likes of Randy Johnson and others back in the day when they would pitch these full games. That pitching politics and all this rotation and stuff has ruined it. And on top of it, the contract deference. They have been able to build these super teams, and we have teams like the Dodgers and like the Mets and like the Yankees because they're deferring all this money down the road until 2030, 2035. Let's get back to the days of guys playing for the contract right now. Get back to the big hitters who are hitting for their game check. They don't do that anymore. These guys get paid, number one, too much money, and the contracts are pushed so far down the road they can build super teams. I missed when a guy would pitch the whole game and the guy hitting that ball was hitting it for his contract. That doesn't happen anymore. Give me old school baseball. It's not even a question.
All right. I like it. All right. So here we go. As you all know, baseball's my sport, my number one sport. I've been fortunate enough to scout for an MLB team, and I've seen a lot happen in the game. I miss the brawls. I miss the benches clearing ball. I miss the really high and tights. The Pedro Martinez's who's going to thump you if you freaking looked wrong at him. The Juan Gonzalez's that are going to go after my boy Jim Parquet, who's, there's like a 12-inch difference there, by the way, guys. The one huge, ginormous stat, or actually a couple of them, but this one really stood out to me. You know how everybody sits there and says Shohei Ohtani is God's gift to the game now? Well, there's a gentleman whose name is Barry Bonds. And you take a list on Barry Bonds' seasons, number 11 comes up, and that was equal to Ohtani's best year in the Major League Baseball. That shows you how far down new school has dumped. You had 5 or 6 guys that hit over 300 because everybody's trying to hit jacks. Situational baseball is gone out the window. A bunt is not a cake, right, Corey? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, guys, I got to give that point to the best argument out there. And he was very passionate about it, extremely passionate about it. And this was the last question of the night. And he got his third point. Jake, you got the W, brother. Nice job.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Good
That was
job,
fun.
Jake.
That was a good. This was a good show this time, y'all. Great questions.
That was.
I was just saying, great
Hey,
show because you
everybody.
won.
Oh, we got one more. Hold on. My bad. I misread.
Oh,
Ooh.
You know what, Eric? Eric. You know, I was just talking on my live earlier on TikTok about you, and I said I haven't met this guy. I haven't even seen this guy. And here you are putting this up.
Oh, I love it.
This
I
is
love
personal.
it.
This is personal.
I can get a point just for having him put that one up.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yep.
Eric gets the point.
Oh my God. Yes. I love it.
Eric
Brian Kelly.
gets the point. No matter what, Eric gets the point on that.
bye, Brian. Bye, Brian.
Oh my
What a
gosh.
bum.
I don't even know where this is going.
All right, Dio, go. Is he going to go to
No.
FSU?
No, I will beg for them to keep Mike Norvell. I will actually take my pennies down to Tallahassee and beg them to just here's the money, keep Mike Norvell, keep the man. I do not want Brian Kelly anywhere near that program because I don't want a 8 or 9 win season and no conference championship. I don't want a team
Yeah.
to get the playoffs and lose the first round. Or if they win undefeated, they're going to get blown out by Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. I mean, this guy needs to stay as far away as the state of Florida that's comfortable for me. And I want him to go West Coast to UCLA. I don't want him anywhere near Doak Campbell and Bobby Bowden Field. This son of a bitch just needs to go away. I mean, West Coast is far enough for me. Go to UCLA because that's about all you're going to get, honestly. I mean, or maybe he goes to Penn State, which is fine with me
Dio,
too.
you got 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
But no Brian Kelly in the state of Florida. I don't want him anywhere near the Seminoles. I mean, this guy. Man, guys.
Oh
I'm
my
good.
God.
I'm good. I'm good. As soon as I'm off, here comes the brown liquor.
I think he answered that question for all of us the best, and we've got to give him like 14 points for that just because.
I don't care anymore. It's like, this is great, though. I mean, I'm laughing because it's just that obscene. The picture of him standing there.
Wait,
now,
did I still win or is Dio?
Yeah.
How's
No,
that?
Oh, no, you got the W.
Jake,
You got the
Cool,
W.
But
cool,
listen,
cool.
I love the fact that the 2 opening games of his season, his first season at LSU, my Seminoles beat him, and the very next year, my Seminoles beat him. I mean, I'll take those back-to-back dubs over Brian Kelly, and that should be
Yo,
enough.
somebody clip this, please.
That
Somebody.
should be enough for anybody at Tallahassee at University of Florida State to sit there and go, we beat this guy twice in back-to-back openers, and now we're 2-10 last year, and we're 3, and who the hell
Yo,
knows where we're
Dio,
going?
Brian Kelly or
Four is
James
something this
Franklin?
year, and
Who
we
would you
still
rather
beat Brian
have?
Kelly twice. I mean, come on. We don't want this guy. We don't want him. No.
Hey, Deal, you're welcome.
Oh, my God.
That was awesome.
Bob, that was awesome, Eric. But I don't ever want to see that picture again.
Anytime Dio
I'm
makes
gonna
anybody
close my
upset from now
laptop,
on,
I
just
swear.
send him the
Oh,
picture.
man.
Oh,
Well, everybody.
that was worth staying up after midnight for that shit.
That was good. That was real good.
Man.
Oh, man. Everybody, I just want to say thank you guys for joining us tonight. As you can see, we had a little bit of fun. Well, actually, a lot of fun. Our sponsors are Brandon. Go ahead and start.
Heaven Sent Helmet Gear, hshbgear.com. Enter promo code MARRIED and you get 15% off.
Oh,
Nice. Rod.
Styles Apparel, www.stylesapparel, that's styles with a Z.com, where we keep you in style.
Nice. And Dio, you got anything?
Yeah, I'm collecting a drinking fund. So if y'all want to contribute to my Florida State season and start a fund to keep Brian Kelly out of there, I'd appreciate it.
Nice.
The Florida
Corey?
State Floodwater Foundation.
Hey, I'm right there with you, Dio,
I
with
would,
my
I would like
Clemson Tigers this year.
Oh God, if Dabo resigns or retires, and they took Brian Kelly at Clemson,
Dio, shut up.
I'm going to Illinois to party with Corey, and we're gonna just enjoy every minute of it because I guarantee you we'll probably get a W each season against him.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Dio, shut up right now.
You'll have,
You
a,
know.
you'll have a Miami Hurricane and a Florida State fan partying together.
Oh,
Yep.
that's gonna be fun.
You know.
We'll get Dion and Michael together, and we'll have a party.
I
Yep.
already,
There you
called
go.
my Nets head coach at Clemson. He said he's willing to take the job.
Jimbo Fisher.
No, that's your guy. He's coming back to Florida State.
Oh, God. Anyway, guys, hey, Paratravelers, that's PERATRAVELERS.net. I will get you anywhere you want to go around the world. The comic relief is going to continue, and we're going to be great. All right, guys? Have a good night.
Peace out, guys.